How to win the wholesaling real estate game in 2024. What is up, guys? Zach in here.
Rick in here.
And in today's video, we're going to talk exactly how to win in wholesaling real estate. This year, a lot of stuff has changed. And really, if you don't know what's going on in the wholesaling real estate game right now, you're going to be in trouble. The truth is, there's so many wholesaling real estate videos out there from 2021, 2022, 2023, right? Like, back in the good old days of how wholesaling real estate used to work. And a lot of stuff has changed. And this video is not to talk about what's changed from last year to this year, but really to give you a guide from now moving forward of exactly how to win. I get asked a lot, what do I have to do to win? How to become successful? And really what we want to do today is really just talk about this, right? Like how to actually become successful, how to win, and how to actually get results, right? Because we're here to talk about results. We're not here to talk about anything else. And if you've ever seen any other wholesaling guru talk about this, right? No one's given them more results in wholesaling real estate than us. And we've helped more people than ever to get rich wholesaling real estate. So we know what we're talking about. We're here to help you out and do a lot of deals wholesaling houses. So let's talk about this. Let's break this all down and let's kind of share exactly what you need to do. Now, the first thing you have to learn here, and I've made a lot of mistakes in wholesaling real estate in the past. And I think this is the first thing you need to understand. To win in wholesaling, you're going to have to fail. You're going to have to make mistakes. Bad things are going to happen. I don't know one rich guy in wholesaling where bad things haven't happened. And the point is how you learn from these mistakes. Now, either you make mistakes faster or you make less mistakes, but you make them slower, right? As long as you're not going to jail, doing anything stupid, right? In wholesaling real estate, you should be fine. And so what I mean by this is make your mistakes, but try to do them fast and learn from them fast. I see a lot of wholesalers lose deals because they don't do pretty basic things that we teach in our free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, that if you went through the course, you could avoid a lot of these mistakes, but there's still mistakes of you stuttering in front of the sellers, being nervous talking to them and not knowing really what to say when you get a crazy objection. You got to do this. And to win in wholesaling real estate, you have to fumble a little. You have to kind of mess up. Now, as a beginner, I've done wholesaling deals, made 100K my first year, mistake after mistake, but learning from those mistakes actually made me rich. And the one thing I'll add too is one of the biggest mistakes I made was just trying to wholesale in all these different areas in my city. And then I started making mistakes like, wow, I cannot get any deals in this area. I was like, oh, this is a mistake. Let's go to the ones that are actually working, and actually ended up making more money. And so mistakes are a good thing. It's something I think a lot of people don't really understand.
Yeah, I call it the triple F. I learned when I started, it was actually one of the fundamental tools that taught me. And I learned this too. It actually applies to any entrepreneur, like on any business, specifically to wholesaling. So we call it triple F. It's not what you think. Fail forward fast. The faster you can fail forward, the better you'll do. The way we teach you is you will stumble, you will fail, but you won't get killed, meaning you're minimizing your risk and you're maximizing your reward. The problem is a lot of you, the minute you hit a stump or a failure, you want to stop. And honestly, that's the sign where you're uncomfortable. You got to just keep on going. The rope is there to pull you up. It's freewholesaling.com. It's Rick, it's Zach. Fail forward fast. If you get it, remember, because if the worst thing you do is nothing, okay, because that's a decision in there. But if you decide to do something that's outside your bounds, like wholesaling, and you've committed to it, and that's great, you've got to do it. And the thing is, the minute it doesn't work out, you got to keep doing it and keep doing it. And then eventually you get it. The best analogy you ever gave, Zach, was the riding your bike. Everybody fails on the first bike ride. But you know what the difference is? The ones that wanted it real bad get through it. The ones that can't handle it and they just let their emotions take over, they stop. So
the better part about riding a bike is you can't read a book on how to ride a bike. And what I mean by this is a lot of you guys, I love you watch our content and you do need to understand the rules of the game. And sometimes a lot of you guys need a little more motivation or just like, hey, there's no one around your family or area that is millionaires that are pushing you to become better people. And that's why you hop on these live streams and just kind of have this in the back of your mind. That's important for a lot of people. A lot of people are beginners trying to learn. But the thing I beg you is just do it though. And every single guy or gal that pops up here that is winning in the wholesaling game, that becomes successful, right? They learn about 10% of their knowledge to make money in wholesaling by listening to me and Rick. And they learn 90% by actually just doing it. There's something about actually doing something that just clicks in your mind. I hate to say it, like that's how you get better at it, right? And so in wholesaling real estate, yes, you can read the books on how to ride a bike, but like until you get on the bike, it's completely different.
It's real. It's live. It's scary. It's uncomfortable. It's just like wholesaling. So think about when you learn to ride a bike. I remember teaching this guy to ride a bike. You get all wiggly and you go off and then you skin the new, he starts crying. You got a choice. You can brush him off and give him the confidence to get back, or let failure take people over. You got to make a choice in life. Wholesaling is no different.
You have to. And then the other thing in wholesaling real estate we got to talk about right now, especially of how to win, you need to learn how to adapt. And this is something that we're making a big point on this year, and a really big point for everyone watching this, but you have to learn how to adapt. This wholesaling real estate game is drastically changing.
It is.
Everything is drastically changing. And this is not a bad thing. Wholesaling real estate has been drastically changing for the past 30, 40 years. Okay. People have been doing assignment of contracts and selling equitable interest in real estate deals for 200-300 years. It's all changed. Go to the Smithsonian American History Museum. There's something there called it's like Elm Street, and it's like one of the first. They literally have a house from the 1700s. They literally put in the museum.
Wholesaling.
And this one guy was selling deeds on there, right? It's literally in the museum. We got pictures and everything of it, right? Wholesaling real estate's changed a lot, and I love reading old real estate wholesaling books from 80, 70 years ago. Even 50 years ago, and it just shows how a lot of things have changed. And this isn't a bad thing. It's always a changing thing. It's like basketball, football. Football is different than it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. NBA basketball is different than it was 70 years ago. Is that a bad thing? No, but it's just different. And so either you learn how to adapt or you get behind, right? So if you played basketball, I hate to say this, like Wilt Chamberlain. Like, we love Wilt Chamberlain's one of the best. But if you played like him now, you get destroyed. Now, Wilt Chamberlain was born in 2001 and he was 18, 19. Oh, he'd dominate. Like, he'd be one of the best ever. But just if you use the old style now, it ain't going to work, right? And you just got to learn how to adapt. And there's things in the 70s or 80s from basketball that you use now and you'll do well. You just got to learn how to adapt on the right things. And I see a lot of wholesalers not doing this. And this is what the problem. And the problem in wholesaling, it's like doggy years. 1 year in wholesaling is like 7 years for a regular business change. And just things drastically go nuts. And so you always have to be ready for the change. That's why I love you guys hopping on these live streams, actually watching us live do wholesaling deals, because you get to hear from a wholesaling real estate millionaires of exactly what's going on. Me doing nationwide wholesaling, the trends, I see it instantly, and I'll do a live stream on it, right? Not a recorded video from 4 years ago. And you get it live, you ask the questions, we give you exactly what's going on right now. Now, the one change I've been seeing the most on recently is marketing lists and channels have been dying or drying up, and some have been heating up and going nuts. New softwares come out here, and I hate to say this, but like every year, there's probably 50 new wholesaling softwares that come out, and or changes in wholesaling software, and 99% of them are just like, they're just rewrapped stupid like things. Like, they're not different, but there are some things that do it that absolutely destroy the way you used to do channels in ways that make it better, right? I'll give everyone one example is SMS text blasting, right? SMS text blasting last year was insane. It had a huge comeback. It was amazing. It was working great. It was getting great results. But here's the problem. Yes, it was doing well, but you always have to remember that whatever's working now in wholesaling, like a snap of the finger, it could change tomorrow. And that's what happened in SMS. Like, the regulations came and it got a lot harder to do wholesaling deals. And so, and then other things opened up and other things didn't, right? But you should just always have your backup plans and have analysis of what's working, what's not, right? And so when SMS started slowing down, digital bandit signs started heating up. And that's just a new strategy we gave everyone here. We teach you guys how to do it for free at freewholesaling.com. But like, you always have to have that backup plan. If you have one marketing strategy that's just working insanely well, you got to ask yourself this. And if you don't ask yourself this, you can be broke tomorrow. It's like, if this marketing channel went away or this list, what is my backup plan? Do I have a plan of action? If you don't want to be caught with your pants down, right?
Yeah,
I see it happen all the time.
And what you guys got to understand is the techniques I teach and Zach teaches, because we did it together, is the way we teach you to wholesale. Those fundamentals are always going to be the mechanics of the human interaction. Now, the techniques we're going to use in the marketing medium we're going to deliver and how we get data, that's what's like changing like light speed. So we're going to teach you how to get the best connection possible, But this side of it where stuff's changing, honestly, I've never seen information move as fast as it is now. And that's what a lot of you are competing with and somewhat you're struggling with it. Learn the fundamentals of wholesaling. That's not going to change. And then you add it with the most up-to-date information, what's working in your local market, what trends do you see nationally? And that's how you get really good at wholesaling. Because I see a lot of people, they're really good with the data, but they don't have the fundamentals of wholesaling and they're not going to convert very well. And some people are really good at the fundamentals of wholesaling and they don't like, Rick, which data do I use? And so we try to put this channel together to help merge the two together to give you the best opportunity humanly possible for wholesaling. So I've seen a lot over 21 years. And the last 2 years has been the most rapid change. And I will tell you this, if you can figure out wholesaling right now, because honestly, it's like you're in the basement of wholesaling. I think it could potentially explode with the change of interest rates and reductions. And cash buyers are really they're at a low point right now. There's plenty of them. Don't get me wrong. But I'm telling you, when it peaks up again, the people that are most prepared, have the fundamentals, and have the latest tools will absolutely dominate their wholesaling markets.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like even looking back at last year, that was probably, I mean, it was our best year ever, but it was probably one of the hardest times to wholesale when I compare my 7 years of wholesaling, right? Because interest rates just kept going up and it made things a lot crazy, right? And now we see, the Fed, they say they're going to keep cutting and they're going to keep it the same, right? Who knows? But it's a lot easier now than it was last year. And it's always a matrix of how hard the buyers are to sell the deals to and how easy the sellers are. And like I've always predicted, and my predictions are pretty good for wholesaling, that the sellers have gotten easier and the buyers have kind of stayed the same, which overall makes wholesaling better. Last year, buyers were harder and sellers were more difficult because they weren't adapting to the rise in interest rates. Now interest rates have kind of stayed the same. We might see some cuts, who knows? But it's easier now to wholesale than ever. And now there are other trends I've told you, and there's one huge change and kind of going back to learning how to adapt. And this is something I said 3 years ago. When I make a prediction, it's very accurate. Like when I make a bold one, right? And I say, this is something I actually believe in. I'm rarely wrong with this. I said 3 years ago, wholesaling real estate is going to quadruple its size in the next 5 years. When I saw TikTok coming out, 3-4 years ago, I was like, this is insane. And I saw kids that are 17 years old, 18 years old, like me, like when I was 18, making 100,000, 10 grand a month at 18, 19, 17 years old. Holy mother of pearl. That's a lot of money. I mean, you give an 18-year-old 20 bands, what do you think he's going to do with it, right? I mean, let me ask you a question. You give a high schooler $20,000 he makes in 1 month, barely working. What do you think he's going to do? Come on, we've all been 18. He's going to take that cash, flash in front of a camera, and show off. That's what he's going to do. And unfortunately, the way TikTok works is it's attention, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He's this young and he has this cash. I wouldn't do that. That's how it works. And the way that short form content thing on TikTok, it blew up everything. Crazy. And so any Joe Schmo who is able to make 100K wholesaling, which there's a very, very, very large portion of these people that wanted to just start showing off, it became insane. And wholesaling real estate doubled instantly, doubled again, and probably doubling again this year. The amount of TikTok people coming in, all these things, and it's crazy. It is absolutely insane. Like if you look on my Instagram, I can make a post saying, hey, you want to make 10 grand in 7 days? You want to make 10 grand learning wholesaling in 7 days this month? Just check this out. And it'll get 500,000 to 1 million views. It's insane. Yeah, I don't even show the money. Then people click and they see the cash and like, okay. But it's crazy how this works. And I said, you know what? I fought it for a long time. I don't want all these newbies in. And I said, you know what? How about I be the one that teaches them? Because I hate all these wholesaling gurus. And it's always funny because no one believes me. I'll have 500,000 views on a video. And then every comment's like, this guy's not really going to teach me for free. Oh, then teach me for free then. And I get, it's so funny. And then I just want to give a shout out to everyone in the comments. They're like, no, he actually does it for free. And they're like, no, he doesn't. And they're like, yeah, he does. And then they all DM freewholesaling.com and they're all great. But the problem is, if I'm part of the problem, but the issue is there's way more people part of that problem. And either you like it or not, wholesaling real estate is going to get bigger and bigger. Wholesaling real estate to this day, if you're 16, 17, 18 years old, the only way legally in less than a month to run up $40,000 with no money, no experience. You can have a criminal record. You can look like anyone. You can sound like it. It doesn't. This is what's the beautiful part of wholesaling.
It is.
But there is a catch to it because it is a get rich quick, hard scheme. So we usually people call it a get rich quick scheme. It's a get rich quick hard work scheme.
Yeah.
And so yes, you can get rich quick if you work hard. And because it's truly the only business in this country and maybe in the world where the $0 you can make 40 grand a month. It was unbelievable to me 7 years ago that no one talked about it. And because now everyone's talking about it, there's more and more. And the problem in wholesaling real estate is how many teenage men, okay, women, shout out to the girl bosses out here, but let's look at teenage boys that want to make a bunch of money, want to drive a cool car, and that want to get filthy stinking rich really quick with a very short amount of time. Pretty about 99% of them, right? Yeah. Everyone's getting money quick, right? And so that's pretty much every teenage man in the United States, right? And so unfortunately, this business is only getting bigger. There's going to be more wholesalers. And so we can decide what we want to do about this. We can either say they're competition, they're terrible, bad, and we make less money, or we decide to work with other wholesalers. What I decided 4 years ago was I'm just going to work with these people and not use them, but like work with them to expand our operation. And so I got very good at finding cash buyers. And so in areas like Detroit, Texas, right, all these areas where I wasn't really doing too much virtual wholesaling, I was like, hey, you got a deal in Texas. I got these buyers, right? It's JV. And all these new wholesalers who didn't know how to sell their deals, we're splitting checks. $40,000 deals. I was making 20 grand. I was just bringing a buyer, right? Mm-hmm. Which is still a great service to do because a lot of people, they have bad buyers and I'll provide bigger assignment fees than anyone else. But like, think about that for a second, right? And that was a huge business opportunity for me. And the thing I'm trying to teach back in 2024 is 2023, I was doing like a ton of JVs, like insane amount. And we're trying to push the pace now. But now I'm trying to show you guys how to do the same thing. Like I already make a stupid amount of money wholesaling houses. Why don't I just show you what I'm doing? Okay. And that's what we're doing today too. But like work with other wholesalers, guys. Like one thing I'll tell everyone is know all your competition if you can. Know all the wholesalers in your area. Not because you want to hate them or talk bad with them, but actually work with them. And I'll say in our local market, there's some wholesalers that I'm not fans of. Let's say that in the nicest way, but I'll still JV deals with them and they'll hit me up for JVs and we'll make, $5,000, $10,000 on a $20,000 deal, just splitting it, but like, it's not bad. And the truth is you just got to know them and let them know who you are. And the better one are just newbies because these newbies aren't bitter. They're eager. And they're willing to work hard. And if you work with them in the beginning, they're not going to hate you. I see a lot of competition. They hate you because you've stolen deals from them, all these things. If you got the 19-year-old kid that wants to drive for dollars and lock up deals, work with him for 3 or 4 deals. He will work with you for 5 deals. And you could probably make 5 times 50 grand off of him working together. And he'll probably send you deals when he struggles on them. And he's a lifelong person to work with. Either you decide to make $50,000 with that person or decide to make $0. Like it's your choice. And so know your competition, work with them. I promise you, it's not that hard. Literally, I would say the trifecta here is going to be YouTube comments. All right. Like literally go in the comment section. Let people know who you are. Hey, this is Zach N. I'm in Port St. Lucie, Florida, doing the Treasure Coast. Here's my phone number, 772, blah, 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 blah. And here's my email. Hit me up. Let's talk. Let's network and do this, right? My Instagram's this, right? Facebook groups. Guys, wholesaling houses for real. I mean, there's over 130,000 people. It'll get to 200,000 soon, hopefully. Like there's hundreds of thousands of people in that Facebook group. Think about that.
Yeah. And guys,
how many people in that Facebook group do you think are in your market? Out of 130,000, 140, 50,000, it's a ton.
And I'm talking to like some of you more seasoned wholesalers. A lot of you take the attitude, I don't want to work with a newbie because they're clueless. They don't know what they're doing. I'm telling you, you got to take the opposite approach. They're eager, they're hungry. And if you can get like one deal done with them, they will call you for everything. And here's my pitch to every newbie that calls me. We do a JV deal together. I go, Rick, I just got a few questions about this deal. And I tell them, I go, let's just partner up on it. Now, I don't work for free and I don't expect any of you do, but like if you can do one successful deal, I can usually get 3 to 4. Now, if you're in a local market, it's even more. I did my first 30 deals like JVing because I was so heavily in the marketing. But a lot of you guys write off newbies. I'm just telling you, I love them because they're eager, they're excited, and they'll knock on thousands of doors. An old guy like we don't do it anymore. And so like when you discount the youth and the people that are excited about it, you can really have a huge impact and make a ton of money. And some of you go, oh, he or she's just wasting my time. I'm telling you, If you do one deal, they'll call you 15, 20 more times. And that's an opportunity for 15 or 20 more JVs. I'm not telling you to give up your time free. You guys make the decision, but helping people. And now we talk about doing it nationally with all this technology. I didn't have this opportunity when I started out. This is absolutely amazing. So he's right with the YouTube comments, on our live streams, everything else. If you can help others get to where they want to go, you'll make all the money in the world you want to do. That's what me and Zach do. What are we doing right now? We're helping. We are helping. We are taking down all the barriers and just showing you how to wholesaling. How do we get paid back in return? You guys do deals with us. So if we do it, why don't you just take the playbook from Zach and Rick and duplicate it? It's not complicated.
Guys, we give free stuff out because frankly, no one else is willing to do it. Just being completely honest.
Scary. It's scary.
It's very scary what happens if we're not here. Knock on wood. But like, who else is going to teach wholesaling real estate for free and spend tens of thousands of dollars a month on a free course just to keep the servers up from the terabytes of data that you guys consume on it? Because the course is huge.
Consider the history books. If we just did our wholesaling, we never went on camera. What would happen in the wholesaling industry? It would be literally rewritten, in my opinion. You could say that about any part of history, but it's kind of neat if you think about it, because like it takes people to stand up and make a change, and nobody likes change. But I'm here to tell you, man, life is nothing but change. Embrace it, enjoy it, have fun with it. We have absolutely disrupted the wholesaling. I don't expect everyone to agree with what I do. If I did, I'm probably doing it wrong. So we have haters out there. We have people on agree. I don't care. We just concentrate on what you guys want.
The greatest people I've ever looked up to in the world, that a lot of them aren't alive. They decided to make a change in the face of craziness and unsurmountable odds, and they got the courage, and they didn't care, and they did what was right in their hearts. Greatest people I've ever looked up to. Greatest people of all time in the United States. Right? Think of whoever you want. They pretty much all of them decided to make a change when no one else is willing to stand up. And that's what I'm willing to do for wholesaling, right? I'm crazy about this business. I'm crazy about this industry. That's what we're looking to do. But let's keep talking, right? Now, this year, I'm going to tell you this. If you want to win, old school is the new school, all right? What I mean by this is with the new technology and all these things in wholesaling, everyone's kind of, sounds cringy, but like we've all turned into like a sheep mentality, right? You watch any wholesaling guru on the internet. What do they all tell you to do? Buy the software. I love software, by the way. FYI, I tell everyone, buy the software, pull this general list, skip trace here, pay a VA to call, or send direct mail. That is what is taught. That is new school. That's technology. This is the new wholesaling, right? Where everyone pulls the same list, everyone calls the same thing, and uses the same data provider, right? It's sad. Now, how do we make most of our money? I would say our best is obviously going to be pulling a list from a data provider and just sending mail out, right? Duh. But like when we're looking at someone but when you scale out, you kind of have to do what everyone's doing, right? Like, is billboards the best way to find motivated sellers for marketing? No. But when you're Coca-Cola and you have hundreds of billions of dollars of like marketing spend, you're going to have to reach a broader audience, right? Mm-hmm. And so the old school is the new school, right? When all these new strategies are being pushed where everyone just clicks a button and it's done, the problem is, hate to tell you, like when everyone's doing the same thing, that motivated seller is going to get calls from 15 of the same people. It's crazy. There's nothing unique about it, and you're not going to stand out with a seller. And the cool part is, it's what gurus do, but like, there's these ancient scrolls that have been lost in history, teaching the ancient art of wholesaling real estate that got lost in translation, right? Because most wholesaling gurus, they bought a seminar course from 2004, 2005, and they learned from that guy. Mm-hmm. And that guy taught this guy, and then your guru, and then your guru basically has put his foot in the sand and not changed. And he doesn't do wholesaling deals anymore, right? And he's kind of in that mentality. Pull software, do this, right? And that's what they teach, and it works, but it's not the best. Now, remember these old movies? It's like, oh, there's this there's old kung fu ancient scroll that teaches this secret art. And wow, it changes everything, right? Well, that kind of inspired me to, and kind of you, to the point where it's like, there's these ancient scrolls, right? And we use this book a lot. The reason is because this is just I feel like I hate to say it, this book is divine intervention in the wholesaling real estate game. How did we find this book?
Through a wholesale deal.
Through a wholesale deal. This book was just sitting there from a probate. A guy died.
God's intervention.
And so this just magically popped in there. All right. It's called How Real Estate Fortunes Are Made, from George Bockel. This is a book from I've used this example so many times, but there's nobody else in the wholesaling game that has a book that's this old in wholesaling. 1972, not even that old.
And he dedicated it to his son too.
Shout out to his son. It's kind of
Bobby.
cool. And so George Bockel, my man, right? If you ever look out here, he basically gives you an outline of how to make a fortune in real estate, right? He talks about wholesaling. He talks about subject to. He talks about how to find subject to deals and making advertisements for them, how to find deals, increase all the, how to sell your deals, how to borrow money, like simple stuff, but he has a lot of wholesaling in here. There's a lot of great stuff. And if you ever look in the back of this, right, there's a lot of cool stuff. If I go to page 126 to 130, one of my favorite pages on here, he calls it entrepreneur leverage, buying wholesale and selling retail, another way of merchandising real estate.
But I thought somebody just invented that right now. Guys, it's, you know what? If your parents picked up the books, if my parents picked up this book.
This is his quote, because he learned this from some guy from the 30s and 20s. Buying wholesale and selling retail is the American tradition. He basically explains this new entrepreneurship leveraging opportunity with no risk at all. And it's so funny.
I love that book, man. It's one of the greatest reads. I don't think you can get it online.
You can't.
Someone do some research and do it. What we're saying, the scrolls have always been there. It's you got to take the action. If your parents picked this up in the whenever 70s, 80s, even 90s, 80s, 90s, this would be the easiest way to make $1 billion. I'm telling you right now. What do you think Grant Cardone, all they pick up books like this, they read because the information wasn't really out. This was a gold mine just sitting there. It was available to everybody. You go to the library and get it for free. I'm saying we're the exact same thing. It's a little bit of a struggle when you start, like anything else should be. But you're going to look back on this moment in 2024 and go, man, I made that decision. Here's the thing is we have a lot of people coming in the wholesaling. The difference is it's only going to work for the people that actually apply the right principles, the fundamentals like we talk about, and put in the hard work. And the reality is most people don't have good fundamentals and they won't do the hard work. So stop worrying about all these people coming in. Just focus on you, put on your blinders and go to work. I'm telling you, it's all out there for you. When I started in 2003, saturated, everybody does it. I was told it's going to be shut down. It's going to be illegal. Here I am 21 years later. And we're still talking about the same dang thing.
Funny. He talks about a salesman. That's old school. A salesman who consistently earned $25,000 to $30,000 a year working under this buy and sell profit arrangement. Like it's not, he called it wholesale buy, but like it wasn't like a name of it. But like 30 grand in 1972, that's 6 figures, right? Yeah. And it's so funny how he does this. It's so cool. But like here, let me read one more part here. You know, the most direct source for getting leads to buy real estate is to advertise it in the local newspaper under the column marked real estate wanted. The ad usually reads like this.
I did that, by the way.
We pay cash for land, homes, and investment properties of all kinds. No waiting. Get your cash as soon as you present us with a clear title. Name, phone. Crazy, right? And so what I mean by this is there's these ancient scrolls. And there's way older books. There's books from the 80s and 90s about wholesaling we have behind us. It's a cool little library. But what I want you to understand is using old school methods now that really the wholesaling gurus forgot to mention to anyone with these old tactics, no one's doing them because nobody knows that they even existed. And so this is the ancient Kung Fu scrolls that have changed the way we look at wholesale. But these are methods that aren't talked about at all anymore. And you start learning how to do this, you're going to get very, very successful because no other wholesaler is doing this. Because no guru even thinks that there's gurus today that said they invented subject to, or they're the first guys to start doing subject twos. When like we got a guy like this talking about lease options in the 60s. And oh, I know a guy in the 20s, 30s doing that. And so the sad part is nobody, and I mean no one, talking about how old wholesaling real estate goes. And so when I get someone saying wholesaling is going to get banned, stuff's been going on forever.
It's been going on forever, guys. And a lot of these books do teach the old school methods. This is what I've been brought up on. But today, I love the speed, the data. Like, don't get all this stuff's amazing, and you'll be the first one there. But if you can't make an impact on your seller, you'll be the first and last one there because they're not going to go with you. So many wholesalers are so transactional. You know how many people pitch me a property every day, every week? They don't even try. They think sending me an SMS text is going to get me to close. And guys, I love AI. I think it's going to help put our data together. But come on, guys. You got to be the dumbest wholesale in the world to think AI is going to do everything from A to Z wholesaling for you. It's you that makes the difference. That's why you get paid so much in wholesaling, but you don't get paid unless you can close the deal. And you have to learn this. So many people goes, you got to learn the sales process. No, you don't. You've got to be educated in wholesaling and you've got to guide your clients through. But remember, You don't have 300 people walking through the door to buy a car. It's not a sales process. You find and locate the right motivated sellers and you guide them down the journey. And if you don't stumble too much and you know how to handle objections and you know how to answer them, you get to the finish line, which is a wholesale deal.
So funny. You can't even get these books for less than they're going for hundreds of dollars, and they used to be like $15 books. But because kind of we kind of pushed the demand on it, it's pretty funny. But what I'm saying is divine intervention comes in weird ways, and we learned new methods reading that book from the ancient scrolls. We started doing it. It worked very well. And what I mean by this is just old school stuff works, right? And this isn't particularly from the book. Some of these are in the books, but like trying for dollars, sticky notes, bandit signs, digital bandit signs, cold calling, guerrilla marketing, old school stuff that used to work in the early 2000s are making the comeback because anything that happened before the guru's guru learned wholesaling, they don't remember, they don't know about it. And they're not students of the game. Right? They don't talk to older wholesalers like me and you, right? Like people that are like in their 80s that wholesaled.
You're not old.
And so, no, we're talking to people that are older that did it.
Yeah.
And because the guru's guru didn't know that, he don't teach it on to the guru now. And so it's just, they don't know about it, right? And the cool part is, we're students of the game. We read up, like we look at this is why we're the only wholesalers on YouTube that teach about reverse drawing for dollars, sticky notes, all these things. And one thing that inspired me for digital bandit signs, where you did this in your phishing forums, but George Bockel in that book from the 70s said, hey, go to the newspaper listing under real estate wanted and just post this. And the funny part is if you do that on like that exact thing on Craigslist ads today, 50 years later, you'll get wholesaling inbound leads to you. He literally says, put your name and put your phone number on the back.
Did he say just post it once and never do it again?
No, he makes the postings, right?
Yeah.
And so like old school stuff works, guys and gals. I hate to say it. It works.
I think we're so busy trying to find the latest, greatest gadgets that a lot of us are overlooking the fundamentals of wholesaling. And I'm telling you, everybody wants to go out and get the latest, greatest, best-selling book. Guys, there's thousands of years, all the way back to the Bible. There's amazing lessons you can learn from people. And the one thing you'll learn, they have the exact same problems you have today. So you can either learn from history or you can stumble through it the hard way. It's up to you. It's really cool. If you can find some of the old Carlton sheets, some of the original stuff, amazing stuff, like really creative. I will give him credit for being an outside the box type of thinker. And he took massive risk. And that's what I love about it today. And guys, new and old, it works. If you just do new and you're going to be transactional and you think you're going to text and just automate AI, your closing ratio is going to be so bad, it's going to drive you out of the business. So learn the fundamentals, because most of you are swinging the bat at the wrong type of sellers. And that's why you're so frustrated.
So do these methods we teach. It's our free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com. We talk about a lot, but just go there. Next part here, this is super important, but you must treat your cash buyers like sellers. Your guru's guru learned back in the day to treat your cash buyer like trash and treat your seller like they are the most amazing person in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I've always said, I said this 6 years ago to everyone, but I started saying on YouTube like 4 years ago, wholesaling real estate is it's a circle. It's literally a circle where it goes from basically low interest rate, not low interest rates, but like real estate prices going up. And when prices go up, it's hard to find sellers. Buyers are easy.
Mm-hmm.
Then real estate kind of has this weird point where like prices go down, but like we don't really know. It's a hard point because prices go down, but the sellers still think their house is worth $1 million, but the buyers are smart. And then there's the next part in the circle where prices actually start going down more. And then the sellers start panicking because they don't want their house to go down more, and they'll sell like that. And the buyers will still buy. And then there's the next point on the circle, which is the best part, where prices now start going up and the sellers still think their house is trash and they'll get rid of it. And your buyers will buy it up because they know it's going up. And then you get back to the point where prices keep going up and it's easy to sell to a buyer. And then the sellers start realizing the prices go up. And it's this little circle. I don't care what you do. I don't care the past 80, 90 years of wholesaling. It happens in that exact circle. And we're kind of at the point now where prices are going down, but now we're at that point where it might be hitting back up or it might keep going down. We don't know. Well, I think it's going to kind of stabilize because we're kind of at that turning point on the circle, but we're going to have that. And then it's going to be that point where real estate prices start going back up. Now, is this when interest rates start getting cut hard? Who knows? There always could be crazy events happening, but we're at that point now. And so your guru only learned at the point where it was really easy to sell your wholesaling deal and you treat your buyer like trash. I never really learned in the processes like you know, in the early 2000s where you got to treat your buyers good because sellers are going to be easy. And sellers have become a lot easier to deal with now. Now, are they the soup? No, they're not the easiest in the world. They've gotten a lot easier. And so treat your buyer like a seller. A lot of guys will follow up with your sellers. You'll say hi to them. You'll be sweet to them. You'll say, how's your day today? What are your goals? But when it comes to a buyer, like, I have a deal, buy it or not. It's like, there's some salesmanship. Like, we're selling a contract. Like, when you're selling something, you got to be a little nice, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a deal and you got to do it. But like really from 2014 to 22, this was the mentality everywhere. I was just like, man, this is going to blow up on you. And then most of the people that took those actions, they either had to reinvent their business and learn it the correct way, or they're out of business. And that seems to be the trend everywhere. And it's, guys, a lot of this is just common sense. You treat people like crap, they're not coming back to you. Now, I know not every cash buyer comes back to you, but good cash buyers do come back to you. I don't want them buying everything. But when things are tighter, you have to rely on them a little bit more. It takes more time. It takes much more convincing to do it. And you have to have a good deal and they've got to be confident in your ability. And if you're nasty to them, forget it. I guess the perfect snapshot during that time, you could do it, but like you're never going to build and they're constantly trying to find a new cash buyer to do it. If you don't have some true and tried buyers in your current markets and you don't treat them good, I'm not telling you to go on vacation. I'm not telling you to go on a cruise. You got to keep it business, but you got to be a human being and just you already have the skill sets to learn to build rapport. It's really basic with sellers. Just be super nice to them, be professional, and give a clear-cut presentation and give the facts. And then you cut all that stuff around. But the last thing you call a buyer, you go, man, it's right in this guy's buy zone. I know it. I go, man, but it went down real bad last time I talked to him. I don't care if you're giving it away. He or she ain't buying it from you because they don't like the way you treated them. At one point, when the market got absolutely nuts, they were teaching on how to get all the cash buyers, trick them and get them to the property and get them all the silent bid and bid out each other. And then what they do is take the last 3 ones that bid the highest, and then you play games with them. Dude, that's the worst decision I think you can ever make. Now, you will make a little bit more money in the short term, but it's going to cost you a ton. Here's the difference between someone who runs a marathon in wholesaling and a sprinter. Sprinters always run out of gas, and they go do other hobbies, just like they did wholesaling. So if you want to be a marathon, listen to this. 21 years, I already have the track record for it. And I just don't want you to, if you want to run a 100-yard dash, I'm not the guy to teach you how to do it.
Gotta go and do it. So that's the point. Treat your buyers well. Promise you. When every wholesaler has a deal, they're going to go with the guy that treated them the best. Now, one of the most important points we got to make here is you got to put gas in the tank. Okay. Listen up. Put gas in the tank. What I mean by this is you can't travel in your car without putting gas in the tank, or an electric car, you can't charge it, right? Put gas in the tank. What I mean by this is if you want to travel, you're going to have to put gas in the vehicle so as fuel. And so if you expect to make 100K in wholesaling, your vehicle to travel, to let's say 100 miles, there's going to have to be gas. If there's no gas in the tank, you're not going to travel there. And people expect to travel from New York to LA on 1 tank of gas. And they're like, Zach, how do I travel from, let's do this. How do I travel from LA to Florida in a car with $30 of gas or, 2 tanks of gas? It's like, and you're in a truck? That's not possible. What do you mean it's not possible? How do I also do that in 4 hours? It's like, some of you guys ask me these questions. It's like, what? And it sounds crazy to think until you like actually do it. And what I'm saying is, you got to go get your own gas. And what I mean by this is gas is 2 ways, right? Either you drill your own gas and you purify it and you refine it and you go in your own backyard and drill it, or you go to the pump and buy it. You pay a person to do that, right? Now, could you drill your own gas? Yes, that's possible for free. But most people just buy it at the pump. And what I mean by this is either you put gas in the tank by yourself, by you actually pouring in time and effort and energy, or you kind of buy the gas, which is going to be paying for a list, paying for skip tracing, all these things. It's your choice. One's going to take a lot more time and it's going to be a lot more effort intensive, but it is possible. It definitely is. And it's probably one of the best options for beginners out there, but you have to find a way to put gas in the tank. And so you cannot get results without actually putting in your marketing in. So you can't get rich without putting in enough cold calls or text or direct mail pieces or anything. You got to put gas in that tank. And if you don't put gas in the tank, you're not going to travel. And so either you do it by yourself, you do it for free, which teach at freewholesaling.com, or you can pay some software and stuff, make it a little easier. It's up to you which one you want to do. But I'm just saying that you have to actually put the effort in. You cannot get good at cold calling by only doing 10 cold calls in a month. Just, that's not enough gas to put in the tank. That's the point here. And the really important part is you can't cheat your way also. Okay. I think a lot of wholesalers expect this, that they can cheat and get to the success, right? Oh, if I can put a little bit of gas and then put water in the tank, and that's really going to get me there. You can't. Oh, this guy said this magic serum. If I put a little bit of the serum in the gas tank, all I have to do is put one gallon, and I can travel thousands of miles. Oh, really? That's quite the claim. See if that works. It's nuts, right? It ain't gonna work, buddy. Okay.
I got a shortcut from LA to Florida.
Yeah, it's a little shortcut. It's you got to dig though.
It's the same distance. Like you listen, the same amount of miles from LA to Florida. But the problem is a lot of you buy into like, oh, I got a shortcut. I can cut the distance in half. You can't. The distance is always going to be the distance. It's called hard work. And if you don't go on that journey, you're not going to get the end prize, the destination to be successful. But what you do is you trick your mind when you take a shortcut. Someone says, hey, I got a way you don't even have to do like wholesaling. It's even easier to make more money. You pay them. And then after a few months, you find out the shortcut's not there. And then you got to start all over. And that's what we're trying to teach you here with this. It's the same distance. Trust me, there's hundreds of years tell you the same distance. Now, the vehicle you take sometimes a little bit different. I'm okay with that. But I'm telling you, we're all going to have to take the same journey. There is no shortcut. Anyone tells you there's a shortcut in wholesaling, run for the hills.
Drives me nuts. But guys, can't cheat your way. There's no shortcut in a marathon. If there's a marathon, it's 26.2 miles. There's no shortcut. Okay, the path is there to the marathon, right? You can't go in a taxi and drive it. You'll be caught and you're out, right? And so a lot of people think in a marathon, there's a little shortcut, right? Maybe if I eat this special food, it ain't gonna work. Okay, there's no shortcut. You got to run the marathon. And a lot of you guys are expecting, oh, if I just run faster without pacing myself, then it'll be good, right? I'm gonna cold call 15 hours a day for a week straight. It don't work like that, okay? Because you will get burnt out. And so a lot of people think, oh, if I just sprint the first 10 miles of the marathon, it'll be, sprint at full speed 10 miles. People can barely do that for half a mile without and so it sounds good to sprint for 10 miles or sprint the whole, no, there's no shortcut to it. It's 26.2 miles. That's the length. There's no shortcut to it. Okay. There's no special way of walking that's going to make it easier for you, right? A lot of people, no.
Speed walking doesn't count.
No, there's no shortcut, guys. You do, it's the distance.
And most of you aren't getting past the first mile. I'm going to be honest with you.
No.
Like, run, boom. So I'm just telling you, I want you to visualize it and understand it. So when you see it come up, because guys, listen, I've fallen for this. And this is the reason I'm kind of teaching you it. I have never, ever in my 21 years found a shortcut in wholesaling. It doesn't exist. There's not a secret. There's no shortcut, and there's no new strategy that makes everything so much easier. Now, the data and the speed, sure, but the journey's still the same.
And so, guys, there's no shortcut. You have to do the work. You have to get the results, and that is how you make money. Guys, if you want to learn exactly how to do this, go to our free wholesaling course. It's called freewholesaling.com. We teach you how to get started wholesaling real estate up to date right now. There's no way of cheating this game. You put in the work, you get the results. So guys, go to freewholesaling.com. You'll learn how to wholesale real estate absolutely for free. We do teach you how to do it because frankly, it's the only free course on the internet about how to wholesale real estate. So